tell us a little bit more about that study period. Was it just like, was it mostly meditation and you helping yourself? Like, what were the main resources that really opened your eyes and helped you?
Meditation sounds so vanilla, but it's not. And the reason why I say that is because when I learned how to meditate, my meditation teacher had channeling abilities like Edgar Casey. And so she was a trance medium. And so she would go into these trances and she could do a whole life review, which is not a life review from this lifetime. It's like your soul life review. And the way that I learned how to meditate was through guided visualizations, but it was much deeper than just learning how to meditate because you have to interpret what you are receiving. And when I first started meditating, I started receiving a lot of visuals, a lot of insight, a lot of intuitive things. I would have a lot of weird things happen as well. So, like, one time I had a dream about a dead lizard underneath my work desk. And the next day there was a lizard in my house. And then the next day there was a dead lizard on my keyboard. And then the next day there was a dead lizard underneath my work desk. And this is like physically all happening. And so learning how to interpret that information and seeing it happen in real life after you receive a download or in that case, like a premonition about it was like, it piqued my curiosity on like, what is this? Like, this feels so natural and it feels so much like home. I need to know more. And so for me, spiritual practices went from learning how to meditate to journaling to doing hands-on healings, doing mediumship, exorcism. Like, I went from just learning how to meditate to taking the meditate, and I'm going to put this in quotations, meditation teacher course with her,
Oh,
which
wow.
was, it sounds foo-foo, but it's totally not, because you're
Yeah.
learning how to literally do exorcisms and
Wow.
hand-on healing. And I didn't have the words at the time to even understand what I was even signing up for. I'm a big believer, follow your heart and your heart will lead you exactly where it's meant to be. And for me, it was all of that. And then it led me to the records, and it's led me to light language, and it's led me to all sorts of different modalities that really light up my soul, that make me remember who I am and remember my wholeness and my essence.
Yeah, that's incredible. Also, side note, I can't help but think about when you're talking about the lizard, how you have a dream, then you see it in real life. That's something that I can relate to. Literally this week, because there are like huge fires in LA. It was like 2 nights before I had a nightmare about, like, it wasn't exactly scary, but I just no, I had a dream of an end of the world situation. But I wasn't stressed out in the dream, but I literally journaled about it the day after. And then the next day was like the
The
fires.
fires, yeah.
And I don't know. I do have little moments like that, but I don't think I have the experience of how you have your teacher and you went deeper. But anyway, it just came to my mind. I was like, wow.
Well, we all have premonitions in some way, shape, or form. Some of us remember them and some of us don't. And some people have these premonitions where it's very matter of fact of what it means. And then some people have premonitions where it's more elusive. And for example, like, you had the end of the world and then the fire start, like, your subconscious is literally forewarning you, hey, something big is going to happen. And metaphorically, it is the end of the world for some people that just
Yeah.
lost all of their belongings. I think there was like I don't know if it was a rabbit museum or a hotel or something. It just like popped up in my feed before you and I hopped on. And this owner has been collecting these things and these belongings for 40 years, and he lost his whole collection. And
Yeah.
it's so sad. And it can feel like the end of the world. And even though it's just belongings, those belongings can't be replaced.
Okay. So, how did you first kind of tap into those spiritual gifts working with Akashic Records and light language? Maybe let's first explain what those are, and then I want to know your first experiences with them.
So, for anybody that doesn't know, the Akashic Records is a field of infinite possibility. So, every word, deed, thought from the moment your soul is incepted is recorded in the Akash. And you can think about it as like a cosmic library that holds everything and anything in it. And what I mean by that is, you have an Akashic Records, I have an Akashic Records, Mother Earth has an Akashic Records, books, artifacts, people, places, things, and belongings have Akashic Records. And we can tap into the Akashic Records to receive love and guidance and support in any and all areas of our life. And so for me, how I discovered the Akashic Records Well, I learned first from my first spiritual teacher what they were, but I didn't realize that I was actually tapping into them in meditation and through the practices that I was doing with her. It was very subconscious, like, because some people can access the records unknowingly. And what I discovered when I did discover what the records were, like, I was like, I don't, this feels so familiar. I know that I need to know more about it. So I ended up getting like my first reading, and I'm like, I just need to know exactly what this is and how this works. And so I started on a path of studying it. And by studying it, I discovered I've been working in the records since I was a kid. Because when you are a child, you access things in a different way, and then you start to conform to normalcy that the adults in your life tell you is what is normal and not to behave in certain ways. And so I started to access those when I was a kid, and as an adult, I knew things that I shouldn't have known as a kid, and that was because of the Akashic Records and just being really intuitive. And then with light language, my sister and I would actually speak light language to each other when we were kids. I didn't have those words at that time, but I think like 2017 or something, my guides were like, "You're going to start speaking light language." I'm like, "I'm not speaking light language. That's weird. I don't want to be any more weird. Like, this is already getting weird." And they're like, "No, you're going to speak it. It's going to be great. Like, people are going to resonate with it." I'm like, "I don't know. I don't really want to do it." And so, like, I had this reluctancy towards it. And then I started speaking it. And when I spoke it for the first time, it was like this big remembrance of, oh, yeah, I used to do this when I was a kid. And my older sister and I, when we would speak to each other, we would actually know what each other was saying when we were kids too. And so with light language is the cosmic language of your soul. And so there are no human words sometimes that can describe what wants to come through. And light language is tuning into a particular frequency, radio station, to channel information to break you out of trance. And so we all get into trance. Like if you're watching a TV show, you can get into trance just watching it, or like scrolling on social media, you can get into a trance and like get sucked in. You're like, I thought I was on here for 5 minutes and it's been an hour. And so we get into trance with all sorts of different beliefs and patterns and things that we are connected to. And these can be trances that are connected to collective conscious beliefs or habits or systems that have certain values and belief systems that make us behave a certain way. Good example that I like to use for that is like people that like to take photos on Christmas Day with all matching pajamas. So there can be it's fun, it's beautiful, it's cute, but there can be a belief system that if I'm not doing this because everybody else is doing it on social media, I'm going to look weird. You can just fill in the blank about the belief. And so the cool thing about light language is it just kind of lets you beat to your own drum. Like most spiritual practices allow you to beat to your own drum and figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And that's one of the things that I like about light language. The other thing I like about the records is the most important thing is it allows you to have a self-discovery so that you can live on purpose.